Hey all, namaste. I asked this question a few days ago. Have you given up on being a better yoga teacher? And you could answer it in a number of ways. You could ignore it. You could answer yes, no. You could answer yes, no and expand on that. Or you could get offended. A couple did. I don't know why. You'd have to look at that. I've always asked myself this question. Have I given up on being a better yoga teacher at different times? I've been teaching now for over 40 years, and I think it's an important question to ask. You could frame it in a different way. You could frame it, do I want to be a better yoga teacher? Well, the answer is always yes. And when I ask myself the question, have I given up on being a better yoga teacher? The answer is always no. But at some level, it's a yes answer in the sense that I feel like I've plateaued out, or I've rested on my laurels, or I've opened up into new understandings, and then I've been scared to take them out into my teaching or out into my marketing or the way that I present myself. Also, some of the higher level teachings from my lineages, from my teachers, I feel a little nervous to take it out sometimes, or I take it out and it's not received well, so I get down on myself. Oh, I'm not a good teacher. And then I use that as an excuse not to take it out there and be a better teacher. And it's an evolution, right? I started off doing, like a lot of people, doing a lot of asana. Well, I started off doing a full system with mum when I was, a kid from 5. But I was very sporty and athletic, and my yoga, when I started teaching when I was 15, it was very physically focused, and I worked really hard on being a better teacher in the sense that I thought that being a better teacher was to get into very bendy, challenging, difficult poses. And I did pretty well on that. I started working on the 3rd series of Ashtanga. Pretty difficult. And the thing is that I got to this place, but underlying, I had my version of being dysfunctional in the world for whatever reasons, my karmic journey. But I felt empty, I felt lost, I felt disconnected. And those things hadn't really changed. And so it was frustrating to me. And then I got really sick, and it turned my life upside down, but it started me asking all of those bigger questions. Who am I? What's it about? How do we achieve balance? Went off to India, spent time with all these incredible beings, men and women, master teachers, and they were doing something totally different. They had stable levels of happiness, of joy, of compassion. They were doing incredible amounts of service and work in the world. They were benefiting many, many people, and I wanted to know how to do that. And so I started down that journey, and I was asking, how do I be a better teacher? How do I take this stuff and teach people? And I felt like when I was teaching it, people weren't really open to it, or they didn't really understand it. I don't know if I fully understood it myself. And I was really talking to the 1%. And they loved it, but the majority of people didn't quite grasp it. So I asked myself, how do I be a better teacher? And the answer to that was I had to make the invisible, right? Consciousness, mind, prana, the Akashic field, all of these terms. How do you make the invisible visible? And then how do you put it into a language that people understand? In a language that they understand in a sense that it relates to their life. Because if it doesn't relate to their life, they're not going to care about it. If they don't care, no one's going to do it. So how do I make people care about it? And I decided I had to make the invisible visible. So I worked with my teachers for a long time to understand that. Then I looked at, I was still doing more physical stuff, and I wanted to do more and more. So then I looked at the traditional model of how yoga was in the commercial market, and I looked at, okay, so I'm going to be a better teacher, I'm going to do it as a life coaching system, because I saw yoga as the ultimate life coaching system, that these men and women had got to the highest level of human possibility. There's nothing more accomplished than that. And then it was actually mapped out in different texts. So then I worked out, well, if I can contemporize that with my teachers and bring all of those teachings into a modern day context relevant to people's daily life, that could be really, really powerful. So that was cool. And people were loving that. And they were making a bigger impact in the world because they were using yoga as a full transformation system. But then there was this issue of it being a saturated market and having no business skills. And I was graduating people in 200-hour trainings. And I felt like the market had got really busy, really saturated. And I was graduating them into a market where they had no business skills and they didn't know how to market themselves and they didn't know how to run a business. So I decided, okay, how do I be a better teacher? Well, I'm going to go deep into how to run business, especially online now, how to do it online, and help my graduates and anyone else how to then take this information, this higher information of the yogis that would be incredibly useful for humanity if bunches and bunches of yoga teachers knew how to do it and create a ripple effect and help the collective evolve, take their role in helping the collective evolve. And so I went deep into that place. And then I found a lot of people didn't relate to business Mark. They wanted me to be yoga Mark. And then I was asking, well, how do I be a better teacher? How do I do that? In essence, because I was doing it from my heart, from the intentions of wanting yogis to do well, and make a difference, but also be abundant, because it's super valuable information. And how do I combine those things? How do I take it out? So Christina and I have worked over time now to look at how we can help teachers, run a business model, be abundant, how to teach these higher teachings, to understand the secrets of the yogis, and not just in that esoteric language, but bring science into it. And look at these things which we call hidden knowledge or secret practices. Definitely the practices, some of them are secret, but the knowledge is all there. It's hidden knowledge, but it's hidden in plain sight. So how do we highlight that? How, as a better teacher, how do I highlight that and bring it into the market in a way that people care? So that's kind of where I am now, looking at this evolution of it. And I think now, when I ask the latest question, the framing of how do I become a better teacher, well, ultimately what the yogis did is they turned away from the outside world, looking at that's going to somehow make everything all right if they accumulate something on the outside. Now, as yogis, we know that's not true. We actually have to go 180 degrees and turn inside. And what it's about is trusting your own inner authority, not trusting some authority out there to tell you how to live your life. Because if you don't have that inner authority, you're going to rely on someone else, and people are queued up to tell you how to live. It's about coming back to your self-governance, to coming back into sovereignty. And I think it's a big issue in the world now that people are looking into that. So there's a big part of me when I look at being a better teacher, how to use yoga as an awakening process, how to help people come back to the inner authority, how to be sovereign, how to come back into self-governance so that they see things with more clarity and they make wiser decisions. And from those wiser decisions, you move through life with more ease and grace, and it benefits everyone around you. And it's such a beautiful system. It's pragmatic, it's practical. It works on every level of what it means to be a human being. So the question, have you given up on being a better yoga teacher? It's not to judge anyone. It's simply a question I ask myself all the time, and in that framework is really about, well, how do you evolve? Are you evolving as a person, and are you evolving as a yoga teacher? And this is my journey. Namaste.